Okay, so I've now put in all that information, as you can see down here from the question. So we've got our accounts receivable for July, and then down here for the other months. And then you can see here as well, I've got my estimated payments and the bank balance down the bottom. So that's debit, that 5,000. If it had been a credit, we'd put that in as a negative. For these guys, I've renamed them. You've probably noticed that from before, if you could see them. To make it a bit simpler as well, I'll delete these extra ones because we don't need them, so it might just confuse us if we have more than we need. The template just has a whole range of them. You can change them as you go. For this operating expenses, we've included the amount here with the depreciation, but we've also included it on another line here. Alright, so first step will be putting in some formulas for our estimated receipts from accounts receivable. This first yellow one is just for the title. So if I do an equal sign and then go across and back up the top of this one to the name of the firm and just press enter, it will then reference that cell. And again for this one, for 3 months ended November 2014, and it just pops that in. Sorry. So for our credit sales, we know from the question that 90% will be paid in the month following the sale, and the last 10% will be paid in the second month following the sale. So that means that we need to go back 2 months prior to September, which, if I'm good at going backwards, is July. We'll have July, August, September, and October in there. Oops. Awesome. Now these credit sales, we just want to take straight from the input amount. So we can go equals for July and pop in this credit sale for July. Same with August. We'll grab that guy. And this one for September. And finally, October. Alright. Now, if you guys remember from some of the formulas that we were doing when we were just doing our cash budget by hand and we had to do all these statements by hand, we were still using some formulas. So we'll use the same formula, but we'll reference it back to that input tab as well. So in September, we're expecting 10% of the July sales to come through because that's 2 months prior. So I'll multiply our credit sales in July by the 10% of the second month over on our input page. And I'll just press enter on that and then go back to it because we want to be able to copy these across into October and November. So I'll lock in B11, which is the reference to our input cell, and then I'll lock in B because we want to lock the column to our credit sales column, but we don't want to lock in the row. And that one's done. So then we'll take the same approach for August. We're expecting 90% to come through, so we'll multiply it by the 90%. And then the same thing, we'll lock those cells and the column there. Now that we've done that, we can select both of those and Control C, Control V to paste them into October and November. And then we'll just sum those up and total them across. So that's really easy. Now if we had to make any changes to these credit sales, we just have to update the input page and it would flow through because of these formulas. So I want you to just pause the video now and have a go at doing the accounts payable, so this tab. See if you can get the same logic, use the same logic to do the formulas for these guys. And I will pause this and put it in as well.